Ça va, Marina? Bon. Alia, en forme? Bon. Bon, je crois qu'on y est presque. Merci à tous d'être ici présents dans cet amphithéâtre que nous aimons beaucoup, sur lequel les grands artistes de Manifesta ont été peints depuis 1841. Et donc, ça fait voilà, de Poussin à Rubens, que j'ai devant moi, les artistes du trait, les artistes de la couleur, Raphaël et les autres. Je suis très honoré de recevoir Hedwig Virène, la fondatrice et directrice de Manifesta, pour l'annonce de Manifesta 13. Alors je vais vous présenter peu à peu cette histoire, mais avant de commencer et avant de donner la parole à Hedwig qui va introduire évidemment le projet, l'aventure qu'a commencé Hedwig Virène il y a, je sais pas, presque 26 ans, 27 ans par là, est extraordinaire. C'est-à-dire que Manifesta a véritablement cette biennale européenne qui se déplace de ville en ville et qui nous montre à chaque fois de la façon la plus ouverte possible la façon dont les artistes et toutes sortes d'artistes pensent le présent et le futur, a évidemment complètement transformé notre façon de penser l'art. Et pour ceux qui, comme moi, en ont vu une dizaine de Manifesta, eh bien on se rend compte à quel point ça a compté dans notre conception et notre façon de penser l'art dans l'espace public, l'art dans la ville, l'art dans les grands enjeux européens, l'art dans un monde qui se transforme. Et je pense que nous en parlerons tout à l'heure avec les 4 commissaires de l'exposition. Plus que jamais, nous sommes dans la situation assez extraordinaire d'un monde qui se transforme, et c'est ça, je suppose, dont on va pouvoir parler longuement. Alors je salue évidemment Marie-Hélène Ferraud, donc adjointe au maire, chargée des affaires culturelles de la ville de Marseille. Heureux de t'avoir ici. Tu es aussi une des membres de notre formidable comité board, mid-board on dit, hein. Et évidemment, au moment où je perds en général la liste du board, c'est normal. Je salue également Béatrice Salmon, notre délégué aux arts plastiques, on peut dire, hein, ça se dit plus ou ça se dit pas encore, mais ça veut bien dire ce que ça veut dire, voilà, qui pour le ministère de la Culture montre son appui pour cette aventure. Et Béatrice, merci d'être venue. Je salue les acteurs culturels de Marseille, mais aussi de la région Rhône-Alpes qui sont là, et je suis très heureux, je pense à toi Mustapha, et à ceux que tu représentes, et je suis très heureux que vous soyez là. Donc il y a dans notre board des personnes que vous connaissez. Je peux leur dire leur nom, tu permets? Can I tell them their names? Ok. Alors il y a la directrice des musées de Nice qui est Hélène Guenin, qui est par ici. Hélène, salut Hélène. Donc une personnalité très connue et très aimée. Hendrik Driessen, un des plus grands conservateurs. Je l'ai connu quand on était à Eindhoven. Il s'est occupé ensuite de la Fondation Dupont. Et c'est un personnage extraordinaire. Hendrik, where are you? Hello Hendrik, salut. Ça va? Bon. Peter Paul, where are you? Merci d'être avec nous. Marc Bollet, ça c'est Marseille dans son excellence. Merci Marc d'être ici. Et puis, il n'y a pas Patricia Ricard, mais elle est de tout cœur avec nous. Et je laisse la parole désormais à Hedwig Virène, fondatrice et directrice de Manifesta.
Merci Jean, merci bien l'école de Beaux-Arts pour votre hospitalité. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici avec vous dans ce lieu magnifique, l'amphithéâtre d'honneur, et à l'occasion de FIAC, que je remercie également pour son soutien. Si nous sommes ici à Paris, c'est tout d'abord pour vous annoncer que notre troisième édition de Manifesta, qui se tiendra à Marseille en 2020, a reçu le haut patronage de M. Emmanuel Macron, président de la République, et nous sommes vraiment honorés. Le haut patronage confirme l'esprit inclusif et l'ambition internationale de Manifesta 13 Marseille. Et un esprit inclusif que nous mettons en œuvre en sein de l'espace Manifesta 13 qui a ouvert ses portes le jeudi 3 octobre dernier sur la Canebière et qui sera un véritable lieu artistique changé en plein cœur de Marseille. Et nous prévoyons un programme intense de rencontres, d'expositions avec la collaboration avec les structures du territoire. Par exemple, la dernière semaine, l'artiste danoise Stine Marie Jacobson a partagé cette semaine avec un public, les résultats de sa résidence du mois dans l'école marseillaise dans le cadre du projet Group Think, organisé par le département de éducation et médiation de Manifesta 13. Un esprit inclusif et une ambition internationale qui se reflète dans le succès de l'appel à candidature de notre parallèle du Sud, avec 360 dossiers reçus du monde entier, 60% de la région Sud, 15% du reste de la France et 25% de l'international. Et cet succès est bien sûr possible grâce à la grande qualité de l'infrastructure culturelle régionale. Et cette diversité de champs artistiques et de son envie de montrer des projets au public international de Manifesta 13 à Marseille. L'offre culturelle à Marseille et sa région a simplement épaté le jury composé à Alia Septi, Colette Barbier de Fondation Ricard et Michel Sylvander. Et c'était incroyable de voir l'enthousiasme avec laquelle des artistes, des commissaires, d'autres membres, autres membres de communautés artistiques ont décrit le projet et nous étions fiers de leurs propositions artistiques avec leur région. Pour finir, cet esprit inclusif est essentiel au concept de Manifesta 13 Marseille, intitulé Trait d'Union. You will hear about it later. Trait d'Union n'est pas un thème, mais plutôt la fondation même sur laquelle le concept se construit. Trait d'Union, c'est un programme avec différentes discussions qui ont lieu au niveau des institutions culturelles et de Manifesta, parce que toujours Manifesta cherchait à débattre des problématiques les plus urgentes de notre société contemporaine. Mon introduction c'est très brève, car je voudrais laisser la place pour les équipes artistiques. Mais avant cela, je voudrais remercier le ministère de la Culture et la Communication, la ville de Marseille, partenaire fondateur de Manifesta 13 Marseille, représenté ici par Marie-Hélène Véraud, et naturellement le conseil département de Bouches-du-Rhône, avec vous qui ne sont pas ici, mais je voudrais remercier très bien. Et bien les membres du conseil d'administration de Manifesta 13, you already thanked them. Marc Bollet, Peter Paul Kainraad, Hendrik Driessen, Hendrikje Krebolder et Hélène Guénin, who helped us, qui sont aidés nous avec notre work in the last 6 months. And of course, Sébastien Cavaillé, the Director of Culture of the City of Marseille. C'est maintenant avec beaucoup de joie que j'invite les membres de l'équipe artistique de Manifesta 13 à prendre la parole afin de vous révéler avant-premier le concept de la biennale, j'espère, et le premier choix de lieu et le développement curatorial et artistique qui continuera d'évoluer jusqu'à l'ouverture professionnelle de Manifesta 13 à la 5 et le 6 juin prochaine année. Merci bien.
Merci infiniment Hedwig de nous parler dans un français 18e siècle impeccable, donc c'est absolument parfait. Je découvre, parce qu'on a eu des tas de réunions comme ça de board dans lequel le français n'était pas toujours là, et je découvre que tu parles un français parfait, donc c'est super. Voilà, une vraie européenne. Donc je suis très heureux de vous poser quelques questions parce que j'ai envie de savoir un petit peu ce qui se prépare et qui est en train d'exister. But first I should say that, parce que I speak a very perfect English also, I am very proud to have you here and with your specialty, because you represent in a way Europe. You live in Germany, I think. You live in England. Where do you live? In Rotterdam? Yes, and you? You live in Moscow. And this is a real European team, so it's very interesting. And with links elsewhere, I remember, Alia, that you were curator in 2014, I think, in Morocco, about the Biennale of Marrakesh, was it? Yes, so it's an open idea of what is Europe. Et donc, so the first thing I must ask you is, you come from diverse field, but you found a title that has a relation with you. It's called Trade Union. And Trade Union, you put a S, what does it mean? Who wants to answer? You can speak with this. We can try if it works. Does it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, super. Yes, it was well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for being here. I know the marathon of the FIAC, it's really nice that everyone is present so early. And thank you for your invitation. Yes, we definitely wanted to make a mistake with the two S in the Trade Union. And it's this neologism is really about this idea of inclusivity and bringing together all the plurality of voices that will be present during the next manifesta. And we talked a lot about Trade Union. As you mentioned, we are ourselves working as a Trade Union, coming from very different also background, as curator, Marina's architect, so bringing together all of this perspective, and then really this question of how we work together without erasing the differences, without erasing the corners, and that's what we wanted to do for the next edition of Manifesta. So it's in terms of methodology, it's in terms of also the Trade Union, the geographical Trade Union, being between Marseille, the position of Marseille between on the southern shore of Europe, Trade Union entre l'Afrique et l'Europe. This Trade Union also as between communities, but also on the individual level of bringing together and carrying all the individual trajectories. So it's working on different levels. It's quite a broad and generous title, but it's for us also to be able to talk about the many things we want to talk about for the manifesto.
You want to ask?
Yeah, maybe I add. I mean, in a way, Marseille itself is a trait d'union because you have very many parallel coexistences or parallels. And what I think the team tries to do is not so much to make anthropological sense of Marseille, as rather adding to the complexity of narratives even more narratives, but narratives that are not inwards looking, but that build relationships outwards, so that what might be perceived, and often biennials or nomadic biennials or city biennials always use the city as an inwards looking point. What we try to do is creating traits d'unions, outwards looking, so that something that is maybe perceived as unique Marseillaise or condition Marseillaise is also found elsewhere in the world, and by doing so creating new conversations within the already existing ones in Marseille.
Alors Stéphane, you are the director of ICA, but you are also someone who has lived in Marseille during a long time, so you know exactly what you are speaking about. And we think that, I understood, that Marseille could be considered like a laboratory for the future of the Western world in a way, no?
Well, you know, I mean, Western world maybe not, but for the world, I mean, things that you find in Marseille are symptomatic for the conditions elsewhere. Something you might find in Marseille, you might also find in Liverpool or in Detroit. And our question is, how do we create those conversations that often, even within a city, are not speaking to each other? We're always surprised how fractured Marseille is in terms of a sense of communality, and partly also fractured by its own urban condition. And as an outsider, you often have a different perspective, and you see parallels that often when you're local, you do not see. And what we try to do with Trait-Union is brokering new conversations that didn't exist before. And the aspect of social aspect of the conversation.
And conversation also with institutions, but we will
Exactly.
speak about that.
Yeah.
I just want to break the question during a while to ask Marie-Hélène. Marie-Hélène, please, can you come with me? And Marie-Hélène Ferraud, who works with the Mairie de Marseille, comme élue, you desire to have Manifesta. You are the origin of this desire. Can you say what you are expecting of Manifesta in Marseille? Why did you do this, this effort to convince all your friends we have to invite and to try to obtain the Manifesta in Marseille?
Je vais le faire en français. C'est bon. Donc c'est parfait. C'était une idée personnelle, je le reconnais, et j'ai convaincu mes collègues du conseil municipal, le maire, le cabinet du maire, et la direction des affaires culturelles, parce que Marseille a, comme beaucoup d'entre vous le savez déjà, a accueilli la capitale européenne de la culture en 2013, et c'était un moment charnière, je pense, pour cette ville, parce que lorsque Marseille a été désignée, tout le monde a dit, y compris les Marseillais, ça va pas le faire, on va le rater, voilà. Et puis finalement, l'événement s'est passé, et c'est plutôt bien passé. Et il a changé le regard sur Marseille, des gens de l'extérieur, et il a changé le regard des Marseillais sur leur ville. Et ils se sont un peu appropriés leur ville et ils ont récupéré une certaine fierté d'être Marseillais. Et cette énergie, cette dynamique qui a été impulsée à ce moment-là, il me semblait qu'il ne fallait pas la laisser retomber et qu'il fallait trouver une piste qui soit ambitieuse, qui soit enthousiasmante pour continuer cette énergie et puis continuer à faire en sorte que les acteurs culturels, le monde de l'économie, les commerçants, que tout le monde se fédère autour d'un projet et que tout le monde soit acteur de sa ville et de ce projet. Je pense que c'est essentiel et je pense que la culture et la création contemporaine est quelque chose qui peut fédérer ce ciment, qui peut conjuguer aussi au niveau politique toutes les propositions, les énergies, parce que en parlant en faisant de la médiation culturelle, on fait de l'éducation artistique, mais on contribue aux fondamentaux de l'éducation de nos enfants. Tous les champs, la culture touche tous les champs de notre société. C'est ce qui nous différencie du monde animal, et voilà. Et donc c'est quelque chose d'essentiel qui me semble devoir être au cœur des politiques futures. Voilà. Donc, j'espère que Manifesta pourra prendre conscience au plus grand nombre que ces moments sont des moments privilégiés et pendant lesquels on échange et on regarde les autres différemment. C'est un moment d'ouverture, c'est un moment de curiosité, c'est un moment d'échange et c'est un moment dans lequel on apprend beaucoup aussi, je pense. Voilà.
Merci beaucoup. Marseille est très particulier dans le cœur, évidemment, des Français, je crois. C'est une ville qui a une telle personnalité. Et alors, il y a quelque chose there is something very new in the project in Marseille, is that most of the time Manifesta is working only with associations, groups outside of the institution, and this time you have decided to collaborate with the institution in Marseille that are, of course, very strong, and I je salue quelques-unes des grandes institutions qui sont là, représentées. Who wants to answer to this question? Why we did Marina?
Yeah, I can respond.
Okay.
So, first of all, we all work in institutions, in our own institutions, and we know the challenges that are facing institutions. And we also see how more and more, especially in Europe, there are many calls for challenging or testing the relevance of institutions. And we think it's a moment also to think that the institutions are relevant, are where people meet and share ideas, is where people and ideas come together and new ideas of society can happen. So if other editions of Manifesta, other biennials tend to go outside the institution precisely to avoid certain challenges, problematics that could happen in the institution, we think that actually those are the places where we want to work. So we have the luxury to be able to collaborate with the different institutions in Marseille and with the leadership and staff who are working there and trying to imagine what the future of institutions could be, trying to challenge certain methodologies, infuse them with other voices, and create a space that perhaps could be even a bit more permeable, a bit humble, but also enthusiastic, that is able to encompass and bring together as many people as possible, and perhaps leave a legacy that these spaces are seen again as relevant pillars of our society.
That's very interesting and very new. Edwig, it's very new in the story of Manifesta, this collaboration with the institutions.
Well, Manifesta 1, we did collaborate with institutional. In Manifesta 11, Christian Jankowski positioned part of it. So it's not completely new, but there's most of the time a combination of institutional spaces and non-institutional spaces.
But it is not an institutional Manifesta. You are also working with all groups, associations, etc. Can you describe what are the rings, the concentric rings of Manifesta?
It's really, I think it's not only because that we are institutional curators and we do believe in public institutions. There is another probably reason that we feel that there is a kind of a gap between the really active cultural life of Marseille and the existing institutions. They converge sometimes, sometimes not. And there is this urgency and necessity to bring many forces together. I was really amazed and impressed by the number and the multitude and the diversity of collective associations, individuals, groups that are active in Marseille. And to make them visible, to make them more visible, to put them together, to make them collaborate, not to make them collaborate, but to invite them to collaborate with us first, and then with other associations and agents in Marseille, and to bring these alliances to institutions. That's where we hope to kind of not only discover, but also maybe invent or suggest a model for a public institution to evolve.
Can you be specific, because the journalist here probably wants to write something, it could happen, and they want to be very specific. Can you give us a scale? Can you say, is there 3 associations you work with, or 30? What will be the range of the project? How big will it be? How many people are involved? Kind of something even a bit rough, but give us some ideas.
Throughout this year, we met, I think, dozens of associations, like many people. And we still are working with them. It's not that we, at the end, select and decide. These 3 or 5 institutions we are working, the others not.
Are they visual art institutions or broader?
No, these are social associations, cultural, broadly ecology, social housing, rights for housing associations, associations with the legal issues of migration, for example, like different aspects of social life. And it's not that we are bringing the social issues directly to the museum, that we are kind of mediated together with the artists, right? So these are going to be the collaborations between associations and artists happening inside the existing cultural institutions like museum, music schools, etc. I think that we will tell more about the venues further on. But
when you say artists, you mean artists, philosophers, poets, or just visual artists?
artists in the broader sense of the word, I think. Women artists in the broader sense of the word, yes.
If you want to know exactly, yeah, there are people, there are architects, there are philosophers, there are journalists, there are visual artists, there are performers, filmmakers, so yeah, a wide range of people with ideas.
So it will not be a visual art event. It's really a kind of social, utopic, visual arts, poetic, politic, all
Yes.
these.
But perhaps
ranges of-
that is at the DNA of Manifestas, has been my want to explain. That is not only an exhibition, it's not an art exhibition, but it's also a movement where there are different professions and perspectives, gazes on the city come together, precisely because it's a cultural event that happens in different cities, and we have to be quite responsible on how we create these links with the cities, and we understand not only the cultural space but also the urban space, the political, economic, and so on. So I'm an architect, so I also have a different understanding of how to interact with the city, and all these perspectives are quite relevant to be as responsible and also experimental as possible.
Some of those artists are already coming, so I imagine to imagine their project, even if it is not settled and really definitive, but what are their reaction and what type of project do you ask them? For instance, stages, what will it be? What will we see?
Yeah, we are very excited because that is a beautiful moment. Now is where all the artists are coming to Marseille and visiting the spaces, meeting with all these different collectives. So it's quite a beautiful moment. So for instance, this week we were with different artists and...
Give us one or two names.
Yes, so there were Black Quantum Futurism is this collective from Philadelphia, and they work with black aesthetics. They talk about different ideas of time and space, and with them we want to create a stage in Le Palais Longchamp that will talk about the diasporic condition of Marseille. And it's a particular special place because it's framed by the Beaux-Arts Museum and the Natural History Museum. So together with them we are thinking on how to bring other notions as well of art, perhaps forms of artistic practice that haven't been included in the idea of Beaux-Arts in history, and also perhaps now that we are in this midst of the ecologic or climate crisis, perhaps we also need other ideas about nature, is our relation to nature. So there will be a stage where there will be performances, workshops, there will be all type of events, but also will be a site for the citizens of Marseille and visitors to occupy and appropriate that space together and imagine other type of presence of the city and the environment.
Edwig, just one question. Can you describe the number of events that will happen in, not, even if it's not precise, what type of event will be included in Manifesta? Because there is a program which is associated to the project, which is another program that depends directly on the curators, etc. Can you describe it that we understand very well the structure?
Well, maybe it's also good to explain that every Manifesta changes its curatorial model. And as maybe some of you know, because you were in Palermo, we work with architects in a pre-biennial research phase. There was last time OMA with Ippolito Pestellini. Now we did a program in advance of the biennial with Winnie Maas and VRDV. But of course also we have our own programmation of the Institute Manifesta, which is called Le Tiers Programme. So there are three different cycles, as I call them, in Manifesta. There is this kind of pre-biennial research program of Winnie Maas et MVRDV, s'appelle
MRDV, vous le connaissez tous évidemment, ce
Le
grand
Grand
studio
Puzzle.
d'architecture.
And that's an investigation in the city of Marseille. Where are we? What is happening there? How can we look at the world through the eyes of a holistic view on Marseille and its region? So this was one part. Then our mediation and education department is already working for 1 year on how to create liaisons and collaborations with the different organizations, associations, schools, and in mediation programs. And that's called Le Tiers Programme. It's a second cycle. And this is going to be, let's say, the program which has its own space, an education space opposite of the Jean-Charles station, but also its own program, which is not starting only with guided tours at the opening, but far more in advance. Actually, the education space and its programs are starting in November already this year. Then the third cycle is the Parallèle du Sud. And I have to say that, maybe you can say something about it, Alia was also in the jury. There are 96 projects. 40% is more exhibition-like, 60% is time-based, more ephemeral projects, which take place between local museums, associations, and international organizations. So you will see that if you arrive next summer to Manifesta 13, you will, let's say, see a very fluid program of all kind of activities, discussions, performances, and the interdisciplinarity. I think it's happening everywhere, but it was always key in Manifesta, I think from the very early beginning, as well as this kind of home-based program, which we call here Parallèle du Sud, but which is sometimes called collateral programs, 5x5, in Manifesta 12.
These are projects that you help, you give them subvention, money, etc. to produce
Exactly.
video.
And we are super excited about this Parallèle du Sud because for the first time in the history of Manifesta, we have a tiny, small 25 years history, the region is giving 500,000 euro to support this collaboration between local associations and international partnerships, because this is maybe also beautifully reflecting these traits d'unions, which hopefully also can have a future in a kind of post-Manifesta situation. At least we hope so.
Marie-Hélène was speaking, and we go back to the artist's point of view. Marie-Hélène was speaking about the legacy of la ville européenne, Marseille Ville Européenne en 2013. Stéphane, there will be a legacy of this Manifesta event. What do you think?
We hope so. Yeah, it's interesting working with existing institutions, and so far we have been welcomed with a lot of trust. And what we try to do is working with and through the institution and transform them into, often institutions are an indicator of the now. And what we try to do is transforming them into a laboratory of the tomorrow. And
You have an open mind on this?
sorry?
Open to this?
Yeah, very much so. I just came back last night from a 2-day site visit together with Marc-Camille Chamowitz, who essentially will work at the...
Vous avez vu au Palais de Tokyo hier, je crois. Marc-Camille Chamowitz, c'est un immense artiste. Donc
who will essentially work with the entire Cantini Museum, and as a narrative plot, if you like. In the 1940s, there was a place which in Marseille which was called Villa Herbel, which lots of European Jewish intellectuals, predominantly from Max Ophuls to André Breton, found refuge, Marcel Duchamp, Hannah Arendt, to wait for their papers and the ship to bring them to the States. And this is also something to remember, that how precarious sometimes society can get, that everybody can nowadays become, maybe within a couple of months, a refugee. And that through migration, you have also a migration of ideas. And this sort of builds a plot in which Marc-Camille will create a setting in the entire Cantini Museum, and working with and through the amazing rich collection of the city of Marseille and the Cantini Museum, by proposing also new future scenarios.
A project of this quality with Marc-Camille Chamowitz, you think that you will have, how many projects are you strong enough with money, with the will, with the time, etc.
We always
build the
need more
project.
money, of course, you know.
Of course. But you expect, you have contacted already 20 artists, 5 artists?
I think we are about now at 25 artists that we work with and that are due to make site visits over the coming months.
That's the program of the next 3 months, I imagine.
Yeah. And it's artists in the broadest sense. It's also journalists, writers, filmmakers that will be commissioned to make works.
Are you in time?
You know, in Marseille time, yes, we are in time. You know?
We are always in our work. Some of you want to add something. Katerina, you want to add something about the description of the project, your desires, your wish, your imagination? You have a microphone.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking what Stefan is saying, and it's like maybe one important thing is really that we're trying to build this trade union also trans-historically, I would say. So like working with the pieces from the collections, maybe from other collections, maybe some fragile small things, bringing them in the setting. And it's like the surrealists were already mentioned, but I think that whatever we take or we refer in the history or in the art history, on the history of literature, we do it because we do not take it as a doctrine, as a canon, as something stable and solid or a definable idea, like the surrealism is not a definable idea, but as a set of actions and as an activity. And this is like the ambition, is just trying to transform the solid or the stability of the situations into an action, right? Into the possibility and the potentiality of acting. Maybe I will give you, I don't know, you need more, like I can give you another plot, another narrative, if you're interested.
I think it would be nice just to give you an overview of, because the trade union manifests in different, what we call plots, and these plots are associated to certain venues. So all these venues are linked through stories, and then one is one that we are talking about, Villa Hervel in Cantigny with Macamil. The other is this idea of the diasporic dimension of the city with the Black Quantum in Longchamp. And there are others, so if you have a little bit of time, we can just be quickly going through them.
For example, La Vieille Charité is another venue, is another place where we invite associations and artists to work. And it's a beautiful place, it's an iconic place of Marseille, I think, and it's like very classic biopolitical Foucauldian institution. And we do address here the issues of marginalized communities, which historically been hosted by, or better, I would say, confined in this institution. And now it's a place of museums, it's a cluster of museums, and we do refer to the history of the institution, and also trying to find out who are the people now who work with, in Marseille now, in, for example, with issues of questions of functional diversity, including mental health and physical. Who are the people in social science, in social psychology, in performance, in dance, in theater, that can come to that and to probably, not probably, but we are almost sure that that would happen, to have a temporary house of inclusion in this territory, in this venue. Also, taking in mind that there are these small but beautiful collections in La Vieille Charité, and we can't ignore this fact. We need and we want to involve also these objects from the collections into this conversation about objects or people or situations being marginalized or erased from the history. That's another plot.
Yeah, it's like also something to talk about is in this plot we also refer to Trait d'Union. That was this journal that was created by the patients of the Saint-Alban Hospital in that moment where in France there were many people, including also Guattari and Fanon, doing experimental work in psychotherapy. And they were actually thinking that perhaps patients are not sick, but are institutions the ones that are sick and have to be treated. So for us, it's also a beautiful connection not only to the title, but the way in which we want to work as well, remembering a very long trajectory that has happened in France for decades. There is another plot, and that is connected obviously to the idea of nature, and it happens in the border between water and land, and connection to the idea of the port of Marseille, and how the port of Marseille has been transformed, and its economies, its ways of circulation have been transformed from like more industrialized space to also now one of the hubs where, you know, the hubs of digital economy and data centers that Marseille connects with the cables through all the Mediterranean, North Africa and Asia. So that's this place we want to work with artists like Peter Fend on the Institute of Creative Ecologies and so on, to really, together with citizens as well, so in a very performative and hands-on way, to think together about new radical ethical principles, ideas of collaboration, and you know, forms of coexistence as well that are needed for what is the future, and in turn with the climate crisis and other forms of different forms of exploitation that are in the world right now. And so here we are also looking into how decolonial, post-anthropocentric and also queer forms of knowledge are coming together to respond to those questions.
Want to add something, Alia? If not, I give you what?
Just to go back to the part related to the artist. Maybe that's better, yes. Because we have been talking a lot about the artists who are arriving, but we are also working with artists who are based in Marseille. And when we are saying arriving, it's also like more specifically like doing the research trip related to their project. So we have one of the example of the artists based in Marseille is Imen Fakir, who is doing now the research related to l'urbanisme de la ville et de la cité. Merci. Juste pour la dernière partie, c'est plus simple pour moi. L'urbanisme de la ville et de la cité, des différentes traditions du conte autour des... Voilà, c'est pas uniquement la tradition occidentale du conte, mais une tradition plus mélangée à une forme de conte marocaine ou sénégalaise ou comorienne. Et comment on raconte toutes ces histoires du vivre ensemble dans Marseille à travers le conte. Donc ça, c'est un des exemples des artistes. But also the part of saying that we are still working and finalizing the artist list. So it's not like our final artist list. So yes, we have a lot of work to do in the last weeks, but we are, in the last weeks we will have the final artist list. Still working on it.
Hedwig, je vais donner la parole à la scène, à moins que tu veuilles acheter quelque chose. Voilà. Chers amis, quelques questions. À vous de jouer. Marie-Cécile Burnichon, vous êtes contente de la place que... Parce que c'est l'Institut français que tu représentes aujourd'hui. Et donc, on va donner une place, tu as entendu, aux artistes de Marseille, aux artistes français dans un contexte international. Ça va ?
Je disais que la place des artistes effectivement basés à Marseille en France sera évidemment cruciale dans le projet de Manifesta, puisqu'on pense bien pouvoir faire converger un certain nombre de professionnels étrangers pour pouvoir montrer le dynamisme incroyable de la ville de Marseille, sa scène absolument dynamique, les institutions absolument diverses et incroyables qui l'animent. Donc effectivement, on va vraiment se baser sur à la fois les institutions, mais aussi les artistes qui l'animent. Et c'est vrai qu'en tant qu'Institut français, évidemment, les artistes de ce territoire sont évidemment à l'honneur pour nous.
Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Merci Cécile. Normalement, les journalistes sont toujours...
Hi, I just would like to know how important for you it is to produce some new pieces. For sure it will be connected with the economic model of Manifesta, but is it something that you want to put the focus on, or it is something... What is your opinion about that?
Maybe just from the institutional side, in any manifesta from the first in 1996 till now, let's say the majority is focused on the production of newly commissioned works. So I could imagine this is also happening in this edition.
Yeah, definitely. We are trying as much as possible to have as many site-specific commission pieces. Plus, as Katja was mentioning earlier, working already with existing collections.
First of all, thank you for this very interesting presentation. I would like to know, how do you intend to keep the spirit of Manifesta alive and going in between the different editions, and particularly after the Marseille edition, what will you do to, to really understand what the impact was, which thought threads arose from there, and to continue doing this good work?
I can give an answer on basis, excuse me, on basis of Manifesta 12 de Palerme. Maybe those of you who were visiting the 12th edition, we had a central, let's say, embassy, Andres Schacker was calling it, and it was the Teatro Garibaldi in the Calza in the Arab district. And at this moment, the Teatro Garibaldi is still open. 3 of our former collaborators are still working there. The last, let's say, year, there were constantly projects. Multivolti, which is a social organization in Palermo, has taken over the programming. So this is a very important issue. We're now publishing a book about Manifesta 12, in which we're not only discussing with artists and the curators, but especially with all the local association, what has actually happened for you, materialistic, but also immaterial, in terms of how Manifesta had an imprint. And we're not only saying by all the museums and institutions which were refurbished, but what sort of energy, immaterial energy or spirit or consciousness was left over. And this book will be published before the end of this year. I am always hesitating a little bit about legacy, because legacy is a lot about gentrification and how did we change the city. I keep on saying we're not the United Nations, we have tiny little budget, really very small. But Leoluca Orlando, who is very supportive, and Andrea Cusumano, the Councillor of Culture, who left after Manifesta, but the next, let's say, political group following up is still very keen on maintaining the spirit of Manifesta. Another project is ZEN, Zone Economico du Nord. That was the project of Gilles Clément, the botanist, who tried to change in the suburbs where the mafia was. This project, we fundraised an extra money so that the project could be expanded in the region. It's too short to say at this moment concretely how do we maintain. There are lots of, I am working on Pristina, Manifesta 14 in 2022. We are changing the curatorial model. We're going to change the whole model of what Manifesta is supposed to be. Why? Because Pristina has completely different questions than Marseille. Kosovo is a completely different, let's say, locus than Marseille. And that's also why I say, don't compare Manifestas to other events, because every edition is really completely on its own. Is that an answer?
Yes, wonderful.
Thank you.
You want to add something? Please.
It's, I mean, for us, I think one of the most important possible legacies that we can leave is that the alliances, the collaborations that we create, I mean, together with the agents from Marseille, they do continue to stay there, and they get visibility by Manifesta, and they continue staying there, and they get support, space, funding, and all what is needed for life, basically.
Alors j'ai une question, mais est-ce que vous avez d'autres questions? Alors je pose une question, puis après je vous la passe tout de suite. La question c'est, vous êtes dans une région dont l'intensité au moment de Manifesta 2020 est énorme. Montpellier, Arles, Nîmes, Avignon, Aix, c'est hallucinant tout ce qui se passe. Est-ce qu'il y a une coordination entre vous tous?
At least from the Parallèle du Sud, we saw at the 360 projects, which were actually ranging, you could say, from Nice to Arles to Montpellier. And I think this is also the beauty of this manifesto, the upcoming manifesto, that it's quite a fluid, I wouldn't say always a collaboration, but there will be so much happening that you're not only going for Manifesta 13, but you're going to see something in La Fondation Luma, which is opening at the same period of Manifesta, or Montpellier, Monco, or there are other initiatives. And I think that's what I think could be really the power of all these collaborations and trade union in between the institutions and private.
Concernant les lieux, vous donnez les principaux musées de Marseille, et le contraire eût été étonnant. Au-delà de ça, quels sont les lieux arrêtés, imaginés, particulièrement en termes d'espace public pour Manifesta 13?
C'est une liste non exhaustive qu'on a donnée, mais par exemple sur les lieux, on a parlé de certains musées, mais il y a d'autres endroits qui sont vraiment clés dans le paysage marseillais. Par exemple la Friche, qui est vraiment un des lieux emblématiques pour nous, avec lequel on a vraiment envie de travailler. Ensuite, il y a plusieurs endroits dans l'espace public. Marina, à un moment, a parlé de la scène ou du stage. Ça, ce sera aussi donc, dans le Palais Longchamp. Voilà. Et puis, au fur et à mesure, on est en train de travailler sur...
Il n'y a pas des grands hangars que vous avez, des immenses... dites quelque chose d'interdit, qu'il est interdit de dire. Révélez-nous une surprise.
Après, donc, c'est plus de ma faute, c'est vous qui prenez la responsabilité. Non, en fait, vraiment, il y a... Ce qu'on disait tout à l'heure, c'est vraiment un moment clé. La plupart des artistes sont là. Ils commencent à travailler. Il y a beaucoup de lieux sur lesquels nous, on les emmène et ensuite qui vont se déployer au fur et à mesure.
Parce que là, il y a Sébastien Cavalier qui est là, l'incroyable directeur des affaires culturelles de la ville de Marseille, qui est un des plus grands directeurs de ville en France. Il y a sûrement une ou deux surprises, non? Tu veux pas révéler quelque chose qui est interdit de dire? Parce qu'il y a des journalistes ici, c'est ce qu'ils aiment, tu sais.
Bien, alors il faut que je vous raconte une blague, c'est ça? Non, nous on est très contents parce que effectivement Manifesta va travailler dans plusieurs musées de la ville, la Vieille Charité, le musée Cantini, le musée Grobet, et donc il y a plein de petites merveilles qui sont peut-être pas encore aussi cannies qu'elles pourraient l'être. Et puis il y a des pistes sur le périmètre de Romède avec des nouveaux sites sur lesquels on est en train de réfléchir, mais c'est un peu tôt pour vous en dire plus. Et puis surtout ce qui va se passer, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de choses qui se passent à Marseille, beaucoup de nouveaux projets qui sortent, de nouveaux lieux qui vont ouvrir notamment sur ces périmètres-là et qui